Hey everyone, it's Timid. Welcome back to my Road to 1K series, and this match is going to be a Tier 1 Fog match versus Mr. Sumner 1595 on the map Stitch Monster V2. You might remember this map from, I think, episode 2 of the season. It only got made, like, in May of this year, so obviously not that many matches I've played on it, but since last time, it looks like this black boat has been moved from, I think it was on the city before, or on this pipe stream or something like that, but basically it was able to, if you wanted to, you could bring it into the center here and move around with it that way. Now it's been moved so that you're basically forced to go with the correct option with it, which is to just ferry infantry this way towards the comm tower, which makes this a lot simpler of a match, but whatever. This map is 2 comm towers still, so that makes Max maybe a little bit less viable, especially considering it's a pretty large map. So that leaves it between like Eagle and Olaf, and overall I feel like Olaf's going to be better in Fog. Oh, actually Eagle's doing better than I kind of figured he would. But yeah, for Tier 2, it's basically going to be either Eagle or Olaf. Olaf, I think, takes the cake because overall it's 38, 42, 48, so 24k per turn. It's a lot of income, especially if you're playing like Eagle. So, like, although Eagle can do a lot with Lightning Strike with even weakened units, I feel like the Winter Fury bringing the snow kind of just also ices him out, so it gives Olaf like a couple of really good turns. Like you get the first punch from the Winter Fury, and then you can follow up really easily as well, especially against Eagle's air units if he decides to build any. Which on a map like this, he's definitely going to be building some. So overall, pretty solid for Olaf overall. Pretty easy pick on him. It looks like there's a decent second turn STA, so I do have the advantage here. But that's kind of it. I think that's all I have to cover since, as in differences since the last time. Like, the pipe team doesn't really matter. You're going to have to blow it open either way, but even with max artillery, that wouldn't even be that difficult to do. Even though max artillery isn't the greatest thing in the world, but it's still serviceable. What matters more so is that you've got 2 comm towers, meaning that Olaf can wall break once he gets both of those, and that basically gets rid of any advantages that Max would have over on a normal just 1 comm tower map. And it's a pretty big map as well, so Max's day-to-day firepower boost doesn't really help him as much. And because there's so much money on this map, Olaf could just keep on clicking his button and deleting a fifth of Max's army, so it'll charge up pretty quickly as well. His superpower will. So you have to be really careful as Max if you decide to play Max here. Obviously, I just went for Olaf, and my opponent did as well because it's the easy pick. So. Let's go ahead and take a look at the replay now. Get started with that. Right, so starting out pretty simply here, we're just going straight to the black boats here with the infantry. We both do decide to load drop our infantry there to get to the base. Well, not really faster, but mainly just so that we don't have to move our black boat off of that tile. Simplifies the movement there, but really, to be honest, it doesn't really matter overall. What's going to matter more so is it's going to be our infantry moves in this area, and how we decide to move in our vehicles when we decide to get our artillery up first. So that's all up in the air as to when we will do those things. Obviously, my opponent's going for an arty pretty quickly. I'm going to get one this turn, I believe. Yep. He builds his right next to here while I build mine here. To be honest, I think the optimal place to put it would be this base in the corner. So I don't think either of us got the optimal already placement, to be honest. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, because you can just move it there and then it can start showing into there from that city. You don't really need. And then you also want your infantry to be ferrying across this river and this river as well, especially early on. So I think the RD you definitely want to build from the back base here because it can move up. But neither of us actually got the optimal placement there, so it's a wash. The tank there, I would say the same thing as you can do it from the back base, and I decided to do it this time. I think partly what I was thinking here was I need infantry to ferry across to this way through the black boat, so that's probably why I did it like that. And then my opponent's sort of doing the same thing. You do want to ferry infantry across this way. As you can see here, I'm kind of far up on his ass a little bit already over here. So yeah, I've advanced pretty quickly over here already. 44, 99. So what we're gonna see here is an arty shot off here with into the that'll be an arty plus the tank. So next turn I can finish this off with the arty, and then both of my tank can just ferry in this way. He's going for tank plus recon. I think that might have been because that's all he could afford. Although I'm pretty sure he could have gotten a second tank there if he wanted. Vision isn't necessarily that bad on so important that you want to rush recon on this map because you do have mountains here and here, so you can see pretty much everything that you're going to want to have to zone yourself out of in this area with just that. So I'm not sure if the recon play this early is necessarily the best idea, especially considering it's 2 comm towers, so we'll be able to just blow it up with a tank pretty easily. I feel like the tank would have been a better build there overall. You definitely should have blown this open before moving the tank as well. Here. He goes battlecopter. Okay. Now let me double check the artillery firepower here onto the not convoy. Select. Okay, why is this glitching out? What? What? Come on. Okay. I'll look at it later, but I guess he didn't have enough firepower with the artillery there. Or maybe he just didn't attack with his tank. I think that might have been the issue. Yeah, if you sort of need to attack with the tank in order to be able to push through there. You did do most of that. I don't know why. It ended up picking out like that. Either way. Oh, it might be because I already have a comm tower and he doesn't have one yet. Well, I already have both comm towers and he only has one. So that's probably what ended up being the damage solidifier there. Is he didn't rush this comm tower early enough with his infantry, which you can do pretty easily just by ferrying them in with a black boat. But I guess he was going for these advanced properties first. Which is like, okay, but having the 20% firepower allows you to do stuff like this, where you just take the infantry off of the city and then just advance like that. I'm obviously going to be bringing in my tanks here to back up my infantry here. I got an anti-air as well. I think I'm going to be going for double anti-air here just because the map is so big. That's what I would probably do. Yeah, double anti-air. So this one's going north, this one's going right into this area, and then we got more tanks to just ferry into this way. Just to funnel everyone into this area. And since he doesn't have the 20% firepower, because he's foregone this comm tower, he's not able to break through my infantry there. So I get to keep it for at least a little bit. It will be able to absorb at least one more attack. Same thing happens right here with my infantry down here. So he's not really getting the good luck that he sort of would want here. And I'm able to see a lot of his units just funneling in here as well, which is pretty important. Yeah, and that allows me to just fall back to this mountain here with the weakened infantry and see everything, basically. So I take out that infantry with a tank down. Okay. U into U is 90 to 99%. Right, and I did get a little bit of a luck, a little bit of damage off of this guy. So 6 to 7% from the 1 health infantry right there is actually just enough to help me finish off this guy with the tank, which is kind of huge because it allows me to just start capping here. And I think that's a fairly consistent roll with its 2 comm towers there. Just building more and more tanks to just swarm him with. Basically using them against the infantry is my main goal here, but yeah, he takes out my vision, takes out my infantry off of this property here. And he's got a good amount of units in this area, so I'm going to be wary of that. I'm going to start funneling some of them over into that area. My main objective here is to just keep hold of the, keep control of this comm tower here, if I can. While denying my opponent this one up here. So I kick that infantry off of the mountain, hide my tank there in the forest. I had both of them in the forests, actually. And basically have a decent line here, so I'm going to be able to advance pretty soon with my infantry plus my vehicles in this area. So this is a decent little amount of stuff in this area to push with. We got more infantry reinforcements as well to back up in that area, so overall doing pretty fine. I've got artillery here, mainly to cover this infantry. And I'm sort of just bunkering down most of my units in this area to prevent him. Basically just trying to make sure that he doesn't grab my comm tower while I advance in this area. So he moves in, sees my infantry there, sees the exposed comm tower as well, I imagine. Let's see if he moves in here. So he's got his artillery, he's got his 2 tanks, he's got his B-copter, but he is not moving in. Okay, that's smart. So I take out his recon basically for free there. Start moving in there, completely just kill his infantry there. I believe, so the reason I did it like this was I think I needed that small amount of chip to guarantee the kill here with the anti-air. Yes. So by attacking first with this guy, that's going to do about 10% to this guy, which makes it a lot more consistent to kill here with the anti-air. So that's why I did it like that. To just get barely enough damage to finish him off. I move in with my infantry there, obviously, and yeah, we sort of have control of this entire area, basically, because we've got the anti-air and 2 tanks, plus a bunch of infantry here. He doesn't really have anything to deal with that right now. Routes. Got my artillery moving down this way. I think I'm moving it towards this forest so that I can cover this comm tower. And that'll be good enough to prevent my opponent from actually doing much against me there. And I'm also healing my infantry there so that it's harder for him to break through there. So he just charges in blindly with his battlecopter there, which is definitely a mistake. because now I'm going to be able to just move in with my anti-air for free against him. And his tanks aren't going to be able to cover that anti-air, cover that battlecopter. So I take him out, go for the comm tower, finish off that infantry there, make some shots in, get some shots in here to start out with. Charge in pretty aggressively here, take a shot off on both of his tanks, spot his infantry in the forest and get a first strike on it, move this guy back for healing on the city there, actually start capping him there even. Move this tank in range of these two, but like I've already got basically everything I need to in this area capture wise, so if you want to go after this tank, you can. That's perfectly fine by me. Yeah, but I've got 3 tanks in this area as well. I don't really see the artillery yet, but I've got my anti-air in position to ward off that battlecopter, and he just goes ahead and resigns. So, well, he is 12 unit counts behind me at this point because I've been just decimating him with the extra. See, here's why this match honestly showed off a lot about why getting 2 comm towers or having that 20% wall breaking potential matters a lot. Like, you saw me be able to confirm a lot of kills with just the infantry, whereas my opponent was not able to do so. Like, there, I was able to take out that one. Able to take out that guy pretty easily. Able to just finish this guy off with a weakened infantry plus an anti-air even. Like, that was super good. Just having that extra 10% firepower is really, really significant, especially on a larger map like this, especially when you're playing semi-optimally, especially when you're playing around cities. Because when you're playing around cities, if you don't have that 20%, it's a massive difference between being able to wall break and not being able to wall break. And if you have an advantage of being able to wall break and you're sort of in a snailmate everywhere else, like, if it's an Olaf mirror or anything like this, and you're not going to be able to grab a crazy Winter Fury that'll be able to stop your opponent from doing stuff, like, which is sort of like what would happen in a Max versus Olaf match, right? Max starts with 20% firepower on his tanks, so he'll be able to do crazy things with his tanks, but Olaf's going to be able to just sit back, let his meter charge up, and then top him with the Winter Fury, and then move in with his own tanks, and then mop up the rest, basically. Just mop up everything that's... Mop up the remnants of Max's forces, basically, all the weakened tanks and stuff. He's able to just move in, especially with snow slowing them down a little bit. But since it's an Olaf mirror, not having a comm tower whereas I have the comm tower, and not being able to wall break whereas I'm able to wall break, is a massive difference here. So this is an important thing to do on on mirror matches especially, but if you have sort of like a tie in firepower, even if you don't have a tie in firepower, it's very, very important to be able to just grab both of your comm towers if you have them available, because it just lets you do so much more than you would ordinarily. It's part of why I generally factor this in, just the comm tower count in your day-to-day firepower a lot when I'm deciding on a CO. It doesn't always make a difference, and then there are some stuff like Adder's power, which charges up super quickly and basically effectively allows you to have 20% firepower day-to-day, even if you only have the one comm tower. And stuff like that can be an impact as well. But yeah, this is a very good example of why getting that extra comm power becomes super important. And yeah, the main reason my opponent resigned here obviously was because I was about to get 30% firepower. He's nowhere near my comm tower. His push in this area took a pretty significant hit. And he's not really going to be able to get to a Winter Fury in time for this to matter. Like, he's going to be able to do He'd be able to punch through my tank, like 1 or 2 of my tanks with the artillery plus the battlecopter, but then he'd lose the battlecopter. He'd lose his upper tanks, so I've got tanks at the back here. He'd probably lose his anti-air if he decided to move in with it, even though there's not like any battlecopters or anything for me to deal with, for him to shoot down with it quite yet. And I am starting to battlecopter spam a little bit because I am ahead 3k in income. And I'm about to maybe be further ahead over here. I feel like he still has a lot of counterplay to do here, because he does have infantry available. So like what he can do is just move this guy here, and then move in and attack this guy with the infantry. Attack with his infantry into this guy, although he doesn't wall break still, so that's a big issue for him. Like if he had this comm tower, I would consider maybe continuing to play here, but with his forces as is, I don't think it really makes sense. That being said, like he does have enough units filing in here that he takes out this tank, and then he basically has control of this area for like at least a turn, because all I have is this one tank other than this guy. So I did overextend a little bit with this guy, but oh well. What I should have done was just I was trying to go into this forest, so what I should have done was move into it from this tile, because then I would be less exposed, and then I would also be blocking his infantry from potentially from interrupting this comm tower cap if he wanted to, but he resigned anyway, so it didn't end up mattering. Anyways, that should be it for today's match. Now you can see my fog game, which is going perfectly well. But next week will be a tier 1 fog match on Boomerang Step V2, which is another Star Flash map. So it'll be an interesting match. And yeah, pretty open, flat map. A-rank, it's not even Global League anymore, but it'll be an interesting match. So I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, so please go ahead and like and subscribe and all that other nonsense. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.